two brief stories I want to tell about what my experience in India has been and what I would hope it to be. 2 years ago, I received a phone call from Bob, and he was on his way home. Like he was on his way from Motamali back to Rima, and he told me about Pastor Fenn, which was mentioned a moment ago, and that there used 70 kids who get one meal a day of beans, and he wanted to know if I would help in any way with that. When I got to India last year, I sat on the floor and dished beans out to those very children.
Amen.
And you can't walk away from that experience. So when Bob invited me to go, I had no idea what I was going into, and I was terrified. But when I sat there on the floor, it revealed to me, this is where I need to be. I have about as much anxiety now as I did last year. The second thing I wanted to talk about is what I hope to get out of it. And I'll tell you about Reverend Prakash's church when we visited his church. His church was about as ramshackle as you could imagine. Cinder block and thatch and tin roof that lifted in the wind. And I thought, well, that's a tough place to have a church, until they showed me where he lived, which was an extension of that church. One room in the back with his two children and his wife. And I railed against that. And Reverend Reuben, who you'll all meet, is an amazing man. And I railed at him, and I said, how can you send pastors out in the field and expect them to do anything if this is where they're living? And he looked at me, and we'd known each other for about 4 or 5 days at that point, and he said, Hal, let me tell you something. Reverend Prakash expects the blessing from God. That's why he does what he does. That's why he lives where he lives. The blessing will come. He expects the blessing. And I could not fathom that. I could not. And the blessing did come. The blessing came through the ministry and the work that's happening right now. His church is transformed. His life is transformed. But to have a faith like that is what I seek. I'm nowhere near that. To have a faith like that, I need to be where people have a faith like that. So that is what I hope to walk away with, is incrementally every time I go to find a little bit more of that faith in my own heart.